Seth book series is a collection of metaphysical texts channeled by Jane Roberts between 1963 and 1984. The work is considered a cornerstone of modern New Age thought and has had a profound influence on contemporary spirituality, psychology, and the understanding of consciousness. The project began unexpectedly in September 1963. Jane Roberts and her husband, artist Robert F. Butts, were experimenting with a Ouija board out of curiosity. The board's planchette began moving with incredible force, spelling out a message that announced an energy personality essence, no longer focused in physical reality, who called himself Seth. Shortly after, Jane began to hear Seth's thoughts in her head, and soon started speaking them aloud, entering a trance state while Robert meticulously transcribed the sessions. This began a process that would continue for over 21 years, resulting in a lifetime worth of material. First, there were the core Seth books. These are the books dictated verbatim by Seth, which form the philosophical foundation of the material. The Seth Material, 1970. This book serves as the introduction to the entire body of work. It is not purely a Seth-dictated book, but a compilation edited by Jane. It contains her personal story of how the sessions began, her early experiences with ESP and out-of-body events, and key excerpts from the early Seth sessions that lay the foundational concepts. Seth Speaks, The Eternal Validity of the Soul, 1972. This is the first book dictated entirely by Seth, and is considered one of the most important and accessible volumes. It expands dramatically on the cosmology introduced in the Seth Material. Key themes include the true multi-dimensional nature of the soul, life after death and the non-physical environments, planes of existence we inhabit, the concept of simultaneous time and reincarnation, or simultaneous lives, the creation of the physical world from thought and energy, a detailed description of how we form our physical body from our inner self. The Nature of Personal Reality, a Seth book, 1974. This is the quintessential practical guide to applying Seth's principles to daily life. It is intensely focused on the most famous tenet, you create your own reality. It delves deeply into how our conscious and unconscious beliefs shape every aspect of our experience, health, relationships, and career. Practical exercises for identifying limiting beliefs and changing them. The connection between emotions, beliefs, and physical health. The nature of the conscious mind as a co-creator with the inner self. The Unknown Reality, a Seth book, volumes 1 and 2, 1977 and 1979. This is the most complex and theoretical of the core books. It acts as a graduate-level course, expanding the concepts from Seth Speaks. It explores the concept of the multidimensional self in exhaustive detail. It introduces and explains Framework 1, the world of consensus physical reality, and Framework 2, the inner dimension of source reality, where all events originate. And it delves into probability, alternate selves, and the vast, usually unconscious, exchange of information that occurs between all beings. The Nature of the Psyche, Its Human Expression, 1979. This book returns to a more accessible style, focusing on the human psyche, sexuality, and relationships. It presents a revolutionary view of the psyche as inherently joyful, creative, and spontaneous. It reinterprets human sexuality as a physical expression of the psyche's innate need for creativity, connection, and value fulfillment, and it explores the nature of love, aggression, and Dreams. The Individual and the Nature of Mass Events, 1981. This book scales up the principles from personal reality to the societal level. It explains how mass events like disasters, epidemics, and social movements are the physical manifestation of the combined beliefs of all individuals involved. It answers the poignant question: if we create our reality, why do people create mass suffering? It also discusses the concept of contracts and pre-birth agreements within the context of mass events. Dreams, Evolution, and Value Fulfillment. Volumes 1 and 2, 1986. Published posthumously, this is Seth's final major work and serves as a capstone to the series. It presents a new myth of creation and evolution, which Seth redefines as the expansion of consciousness, not a physical struggle. It deeply explores the role of dreams as the primary creative state, where we form our physical lives and solve problems. And it introduces the concept of value fulfillment as the driving force of the universe, the impulse for all consciousness to grow and enhance its own quality and experience in a way that benefits the whole. This sequence of books takes the reader on a journey from the personal, "How do I change my life?" to the cosmic, "What is the purpose of existence itself?" providing one of the most comprehensive metaphysical systems ever channeled. In addition to the core books, Jane, a talented writer herself, wrote several books exploring the implications of the Seth Material on her own life and consciousness. Key titles include The Education of Oversoul, 7, a novel, Adventures in Consciousness, and The God of Jane. In the later years, and published posthumously, over 1,200 private sessions, transcribed by Robert Butts, delve into personal questions, world events, and deeper philosophical issues. The historical significance of the series lies in its timing and content. It emerged just before the height of the human potential and New Age movements, offering a complex, intellectually rigorous, and non-dogmatic system that challenged both traditional religious and materialist scientific worldviews. Unlike many channeled works of the era, the Seth Material presented a coherent, multi-volume cosmology that has continued to attract readers and scholars for decades. Jane Roberts was born in Albany, New York, and was a writer and poet from a young age. She attended Skidmore College and had a deep interest in psychology, religion, and the nature of reality. Before the Seth sessions, she published several novels and books of poetry. Described as intensely intelligent, witty, and sometimes temperamental, she was initially highly skeptical of the psychic phenomena she was producing. She struggled with the physical effects of the trance states, which she called the Seth voice, and with the societal skepticism towards channeling. Later in life, she battled with debilitating health issues, which she and Seth explored in depth within the sessions as a manifestation of her own beliefs and fears. She remained the sole voice for Seth until her death in 1984. Robert Butts was Jane's husband and indispensable partner in the project. An accomplished painter and commercial artist, his role was that of the steady, meticulous scribe. He attended nearly every session, transcribing Seth's words in shorthand and later typing them up. His detailed notes, observations, and personal questions to Seth are woven throughout the published session transcripts, providing crucial context. After Jane's death, Rob dedicated himself to preserving, editing, and publishing the vast body of their work. He was the quiet, steadfast anchor that made the entire decades-long project possible. Seth described himself as an energy personality essence, no longer focused in physical reality. He stated that he had lived many physical lifetimes, but was now a teacher operating from a broader, non-physical perspective. He was not a spirit guide in the traditional sense, but rather an independent consciousness communicating from what he called the framework of inner reality. His personality in the sessions was consistently intelligent, humorous, patient, and deeply compassionate. The Seth Material presents a vast and intricate metaphysical system. Its core principles can be summarized as follows. 1. You create your own reality. This is the most famous and central tenet. It does not mean you create reality like a whim, but that your beliefs, expectations, and emotional energy literally form the events and circumstances of your life. Your conscious thoughts are a fraction of the powerful, often unconscious beliefs that shape your experience. 2. The psyche is multidimensional. The self is not a single entity. Seth described it as a multidimensional personality construct. Key aspects include the inner ego, the director of our inner perception, which manages our access to the deeper self. The conscious ego, the portion of the self that deals with physical reality. The whole self, or entity, the vast, non-physical consciousness of which we are an expression. This entity has other aspects or personalities living simultaneous lifetimes. 3. The power of beliefs. Beliefs are not just intellectual ideas. They are the psychological structures from which reality is formed. To change your life, you must identify and change your core, often unconscious, beliefs. This is the practical application of you create your own reality. 4. The body as a mirror of the psyche. Health and illness are outward manifestations of inner health. The body is a perfect physical replica of our inner state, and symptoms are communications from the psyche about beliefs that are out of alignment with our natural well-being. 5. There is no objective, concrete universe. Reality is a projection of consciousness. Physical matter is a mind stuff, solidified by our senses. Time and space are illusions, created by our neurological equipment to make sense of events. In actuality, all events occur in an eternal, simultaneous now. 6. Probable realities. Every decision you make spawns off alternate or probable realities where different choices were made. You exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, and your consciousness tunes in to the reality that most closely matches your beliefs. 7. The nature of God, or all that is. God is not a personified being, but the sum of all consciousness and energy, from which all realities spring. It is the source of our being, and we are co-creators with it, not its subjects. 8. Value fulfillment. This is the driving force of the universe, the impulse for all consciousness to grow, expand, and create in a way that enhances its own experience and the experience of all that is. It is a more compassionate and creative concept than survival of the fittest. In essence, the Seth Material presents a universe that is benevolent, conscious, and mentally constructed, where the individual is not a victim of circumstance or genetics, but a powerful and eternal consciousness actively participating in the unending creation of reality. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching.